guys, so we got another one in here. This was originally going to be the shop bike. This one here has a major issue. We're not sure what it is yet. It does not move. The motor runs, but it does not move at all. And so we actually have this one sold to somebody in New York. So you guys get to follow us on this one because we're going to go through this whole bike, everything. And we're doing a full engine rebuild on it. We're going to service everything. Everything that's on the bike that can be serviced will be touched. As you can tell, it sat outside for 3 years as I trip. So anyway, it's rough, but it's very workable. So we're going to get into it. So you'll be able to see it now, and hopefully the customer that buys it, which is going to do his own paint work, will actually videotape some stuff or video some stuff so we can throw it on the channel to show you the final product of it. So anyway, we're getting ready to take this motor out, so stay tuned. We're going to have to pressure wash. We're going to actually paint this frame too. So we got some work to do to it. But it's clearly weathered. It's been sitting outside. So we'll pressure wash it, and then we'll go ahead and rattle can the frame so it looks good. Okay, so the motor's on the table. This motor is extremely grungy. Look at all this. So we are going to be power washing, parts washing. We're going to go through this whole thing, and it's going to look, I wouldn't say brand new, but it's going to look pretty freaking close to brand new when we get done. We're going to go through and clean up these valve covers. I mean, you can tell this bike, I'm not going to say it was abused, but you can tell that it just is filthy. Now, part of that is because this bike sat for, I think, a couple years before we got it, and then we've had it for a couple years, or maybe a year or so. But this thing's been sitting for a while. You know, if you look down here, you're gonna see if maybe we can find another cover. I mean, we have it sold, but I don't want to be careful how much money we're putting into it, because we're giving the person a heck of a deal. This motor has already been apart. We did notice there was no U-joint going back to the swing arm. The bike does not move under its own power. Last I knew, it did run. Does not matter. We're going to go through this whole thing. We're doing a full engine rebuild on it. Bearings, you name it. I mean, crank bearings, rod bearings. We're going to go through the heads. It's going to all be cleaned. Nothing on this bike's really going to be untouched. We're even going to take it and check the steering stem nut. We're going to redo the forks, even though they probably don't need it. We're going to go change and do the drive shaft. We're going to go through everything in this bike, and going to do my best to kind of show you guys as we go. And then hopefully the new owner will be happy enough to give us videos after he does paint. He paints the bike and does what he's going to do to it, so you can see a before and after. But at least our end of it should be very clean. We're going to sand all the fins like we did on my wife's, and just to make a more like polished look. And then we're going to go through and we're going to clean everything. We're going to pressure wash it. Then we're going to use the parts cleaner, which is actually buried right now, but we're going to do that. We're going to just go through this whole thing. So stay tuned, and you get to watch what we're doing. Right now anyway, this is about 3 hours worth of work to get it on the table. Maybe a few minutes more getting tools out and stuff. But yeah, so over the next few days, this thing's going to be tore down. Okay, so we are, I believe, about 5 hours in from start to finish so far. Got the heads off, all that good stuff. So tomorrow we'll go ahead and hopefully get this thing completely broken down. I honestly don't see why this bike is not moving on its own. As we check this looks good. And over here, we grabbed onto this, but I can actually shift this bike. No problem at all. So unless something's sheared off inside, it's locking up in the gears as it should. So, you know, the bike didn't have a U-joint. I'm not saying that's the problem, because I think that's them putting it back together and giving up and just kind of throwing it together and leaving the U-joint out. So tomorrow should give us a really good sign of where we are. I think this bike's got 30,000 miles on it. It's definitely been apart because they did a second gear, but I think they used stock stuff. But other than a dirty piston, it's not bad. It's got good cross hatching on it, so it's just a filthy motor. I mean, we've got our work cut out for us, that's for sure. I mean, look at the water pump. It's just been sitting so long. Everything is just nasty. So, but stay tuned. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be taking a look at the inside of this thing, seeing if the tranny's damaged. Either way, I'm going to send it to the transmission guy and let him back cut it 2 through 5 if it's not done. But if it is, I'll just have him verify everything was done correctly and there's no issues with it. And it'll be cleaning time while we're waiting for him. I'll get and order the bearings for it. We have most of the other parts we need. So yeah. So stay tuned. Hopefully the next video will have us completely with this thing torn down, just looking at everything. Thanks for watching.